Wendy is a secondary school teacher and already middle-aged with considerable experience at the school. In this academic year, a young colleague joined the team. Her name is Julia. She doesn't usually talk much and only chats with Wendy occasionally, so they are merely acquaintances. Julia has rarely looked well, and recently she even took a week of sick leave. One day during recess, while Wendy was on duty on the campus, she met Julia and asked how she had been. What followed was shocking. 1 week earlier, Julia had attempted suicide. Julia spoke about the events of the previous week with no reserve and showed a kind of cheerfulness that was usually rare in her. Both of her parents are still alive, but their relationship is distant, and Julia now lives in a shared flat with a roommate. One night, she tried to take her own life by burning charcoal, but there was not enough charcoal, so she didn't die. She was rescued by paramedics and then stayed in hospital for a week. A psychiatrist who had been following her case said to her in a joking tone, "You only had a few pieces of charcoal there. That wasn't enough to burn to suffocation." Julia then repeated to Wendy the line she had given the doctor. "I'm not trying to die. I just don't want to go on living." It seems rhetoric. Wendy felt that Julia's wording was too mysterious and didn't quite understand it, so she continued listening. Julia also casually revealed that she suffers from depression, saying, "I also want to get rid of this illness, but I just can't. I really want to go back to work, otherwise I just loop back into it." Although she still didn't fully understand, Wendy kept these lines close to her heart. Even a single cell's instinct is to survive. Many of the human body's physical and mental reactions, such as fear of pain, fear of heights, avoiding foul smells, enjoying good food, and seeking sex, are all reflexes based on the basis of avoiding death and extending life. When a person seeks death, it is a move that breaks through the deep current of inherited genes across generations. The state of mind involved is something outsiders can't easily put into words, and very few people can speak on behalf of Julia and others who have given up on life. For now, let us draw a few insights from the conversation between Julia and Wendy. Compared with some people who say they are depressed but never seek a diagnosis or try to change, Julia is more proactive and clear-headed. She wanted to cure her depression, but she couldn't. After that, she didn't sink into it. During her hospital stay, she actually longed to return to school and work. Many people joke that such a strong desire to work is found only in Hong Kong people. Julia sees work as a way to avoid falling into a depressive loop, and she clearly says, "Otherwise I'll loop back into it." People suffering from depression can easily fall into a spiral from which they can't rescue themselves, both physically and mentally. They lack the motivation to do things and may even find basic daily routines difficult to complete. They lie in bed completely still, see little sunlight, eat irregularly, and may end up with poor nutrition. Their metabolism slows down. Such a routine consumes little energy, so by night they may not even feel tired, making it harder to fall asleep. Then comes insomnia, and the next day begins again with too little sunlight. That's the physical loop of depression. They also find many things difficult to execute. The less they manage to complete, the darker their attitude becomes towards personal worth, prospects, and how others see them, and the sense of helplessness grows stronger. They can't even make the slightest change move forward. Inside them is a strange voice that belittles them, saying they can't do anything. The moment a finger is lifted, it mocks them until the finger drops back down. Unable to do things, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done, so they feel they have accomplished nothing. That is the mental loop of depression. Faced with what seems like a dead end, people with depression may have a different perception of life and death, and may form a unique view. "I'm not trying to die, I just don't want to go on living," can be seen as a portrait of this mental state. In ordinary understanding, life and death are opposites. Not death means alive, not alive means death. Julia's way of thinking seems to be, she understands that according to biological mechanism, life and death are incompatible, but her state of mind is this. She is not deliberately seeking death, but living on has become unbearable, so she can only abandon the act of continuing to live. This interpretation may not fully reflect her inner state. Ordinary people may still be dissatisfied and feel that it conflicts with conventional views of life and death, but the neural circuits in a person with depression can indeed become abnormal, and they may not be able to control them. This seems like a deadlock. Julia herself said, "I also want to get rid of this illness, but I just can't." Countless people have studied how to treat depression. A simple search online produces an overwhelming amount of information, including getting sunlight, exercising in moderation, eating a balanced diet, talking to others, finding companions, behavioral therapy, and medication. Yet whether through hearsay, direct observation, or personal experience, human experience tells us that there is, as yet, no single miracle cure that can eliminate depression. Some people have tried everything and still can't be cured. Julia's experience is probably much the same. I don't have medical qualifications, so I'm only offering some observations, not medical advice. Perhaps depression is like a bone spur. At present, human beings can't cure it completely, and must instead find ways to coexist with it. When the bone spur flares up, the patient is in severe pain, and it's easy to give up activity and become passive in life. It turns out they still need to remain moderately active and exercise in appropriate amounts, avoiding excessive weight gain and muscle loss. This can reduce the chance of triggering pain and prevent from lowering the quality of life. All the patient can do is make every effort to do whatever may ease the symptoms. The methods for coping with depression may be similar. Do all the familiar methods mentioned above, and together they may have whatever effect they can. Rather than aiming to eliminate depression, the focus is on what can be done in this situation and what can be added to life despite depression. Julia was also putting this into practice. She did everything she could to leave hospital and return to work, giving herself something concrete to do. She told Wendy about the struggle against the illness over the past week. Beyond connecting with others, it was also a form of talk therapy, helping her to reorganize her thoughts and ease her distress. That day, Wendy borrowed from the school library Holly Chisholm's book, Just Peachy, comics about depression, anxiety, love, and finding the humor in being sad, and placed it on Julia's desk in the staff room, where teachers were busy going on their own way. By the end of the school day, when Wendy returned to her seat, she also saw a note card on her desk written by Julia, briefly expressing her gratitude. If you have any idea or like this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and share. I'll be grateful if you support me on Patreon or Substack, making us go even further. See you on the next video.